I haven't really done any driving yet because I have to wait to get my permit, but I've been reading up. This lovely piece of paper. The learning to drive from a book kind of makes no sense. Depends on what you would call well written. Because I've watched my parents drive my entire life. So I don't think that it'll be as difficult for me once I get in a car.
The most thing that's gotten to me is when my parents yell at me while I'm trying to drive. And that has happened a lot.
I'm like a very much a backseat driver, telling them too much and making them more nervous just when they're getting their comfort level going.
When you almost get in an accident and they're yelling at you more, that almost leads to another accident, if anything.
Having my parents in the car made me more nervous because my mom would freak out.
She sits there and fusses about every little thing.
What did not work is me yelling at him.
When I drive with my dad, it's not stressful. When I drive with my mom, it's really stressful.
I prefer to drive with my mom because my dad, I guess like all guys, loves his car and it's his prized possession.
Like you'll be coming up to a red light and it's about like 25 feet away and you'll be putting your foot on the brake, you know, you want to like slowly brake and then they're yelling and you're like, hit the brake, hit the brake.
I had a foot ache for a long time pushing my foot to the floor.
Then they start yelling at you, you know, and then you just want to cry but you can't because you're 16.
Screaming at them does not work at all.
You know, if they're calm and if they keep their voice low and they're soothing with it, then it should be fine.
I was afraid of driving without my parents, I think, because when I had my permit and I could drive with them, they could tell me if I was about to make a mistake, and there were a lot of times when, if I hadn't had them there, it could have been disastrous.
It's hard to teach anybody something that kind of is second nature to you. Because you feel like everything's so simple, and then when they don't know how to do it, you kind of get frustrated.
A lot of parents today, you know, they don't have the best driving skills themselves. Although they may have a number of years of experience, you know, what they learned 20, 30 years ago may be out of date. I would suggest that all parents, if they have a teen driver or a new driver, that they take a driver improvement program. And there are a number of them out there. I think that's a great way to refresh your skills.
As my daughter has started driver's ed this year, I am much more aware of my own driving habits. I find that I actually am driving better and I'm more aware of my driving skills now that she is learning.
My parents, I would consider them both really good drivers. They really helped with the experience. They let me drive as much as I wanted to for the most part. They limited it in the beginning to just driving during the day, and they wouldn't let me drive when it was raining or that kind of stuff, but they've done it with 5 other kids, so they've had a lot of practice and they've been really, really good teachers for me.
I did find driver's ed to be nicer because instead of my parents screaming at me, the teacher was more relaxed, and because that's what their job was every day. They were with people who weren't too sure about driving.
The more you drive, the better you start to feel. Like at first I wasn't driving at all except when I had driving lessons. And I was feeling nervous every time I got in the car. But lately, I've just been trying to drive everywhere I go. Like whenever I go somewhere with my parents, I just say, hey, let me drive.
Everyone else, like when you see them driving, they drive so well. And you see your parents drive and you're like, oh, how am I going to fare compared to them? And then when you get up there, it's not nearly as bad as you think it's going to be.
When I get my driver's license, my dad and I are going to find a 57 Cadillac, and we're going to just completely redo the entire thing and hot rod it. That's what I'm looking forward to most.